Alright guys, welcome back to the Zoom L12 tutorial part, I don't know, 6 or something. I want to say hello to everybody that's been watching the videos and thank you. Appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, sugarcanerush.com or at sugarcanerush. Lots of music videos, some tutorials, and all kinds of things in there, so please subscribe and make us feel good. Anyway, we're getting down to where we've been talking about the L12 for a while now. We've gone through what I think is most of the things that can get you going, and that's the way I meant it with the tutorials, just to get you up and running enough so that you can then start doing things on your own and recording and hopefully doing some original music or podcasts or whatever you do when you're bored. But now you've got all these tracks, you've been to your rehearsals, you recorded your band, you've been to your gig, you recorded the band, you recorded at home, brought your friends over, you got things recorded on the board, but you want to go the next step. And the next step is to be able to edit those tracks, to be able to mix, to be able to add more tracks. You have a limitation of 12 tracks on the board. You also have a limitation, it's hard to punch in and out, it's hard, you can't edit on the board. There's a lot of things that is good for to get you going, but if you want to go the next step in recording, you need to go to a DAW or a DAW, and I hate that term, it's a digital audio workstation. I just say a recording software for your computer. And so I'm going to try to see if I can get you started in the same way that I got you started with the board, but move in from the board to your computer to your recorder on the computer, your recording program, which is what I rather call it than a DAW. There's a lot of DAWs or recording programs available. I use Cakewalk, and now by BandLab. I've been using Cakewalk for many, many years. And it's good enough for the things that I do, and it has a lot of features. I probably only explored maybe 25% of the things that Cakewalk can do. There's a lot of other audio recorders for your computers out there, and they all work pretty much the same. There's different interfaces. Maybe you can find some things that you like better on one than you like the other, but the bottom line, they record your audio to your computer. They allow you to mix, they allow you to have plugins. Plugins are just programs that will allow you to edit on the spot. It used to be, in the old days, I'm old school, in the old days you had a lot of equipment going on a studio. You know, you would have reverbs, delays, compressors, all kinds of things. And they were all hardware, and they were all big old things that you would have to buy, put them on a rack and plug them in. Nowadays, with the computers, they're called plugins. They look just like the old thingamajigs, but they work, and they work well. So we'll talk all about that, going from your board to your computer to your recording software. And I'm going to try to make it simple and make it easy to understand, as the other tutorials that I did go slow, step by step. And hopefully you will enjoy it, and hopefully you can get recording. Hey, maybe we can collaborate. Some of you guys out there like to record. I love to sit in, so give me a buzz. But I think that the way to go into this is 3 steps. First, we're going to talk about how we use the Zoom L12 as a digital audio interface. What's a digital audio interface? Well, it allows, as an interface, it allows you to record your analog equipment, be it a bass, a guitar, a piano, microphone, whatever you got, directly to the board, and then directly to your computer and your recording software. And it becomes a very easy thing to do because it's very transparent. You plug into your board, you go into your recording software on your computer, click a couple of buttons, and you can actually see the channels of the board. And the advantage of this is that you can record not only straight into the board and to the little card on the board, the memory card on the board, you can at the same time record into your computer. And with the computer, you, depending upon the system you practically have unlimited tracks. I have some songs that I've recorded that I've got, I don't know, 30 tracks going at the same time, probably way too many, but it's fun and it allows me to do it. So I'm going to show you how to use the board as a digital audio interface going into your computer and then using your recording software. In this case, we'll use Cakewalk to finish the songs, to add tracks, to edit, to punch in, punch out, do all kinds of things. And the steps will be, number one, the board as the digital audio interface. I'm going to talk a little bit about the computer and your needs for the computer, because it's to record audio directly onto your computer, you need a computer that has enough power to handle the audio. And I will go into it as to what you need, what type of computer, what's your minimum requirement for it. I'll show you what I have and what it can do. Then we'll talk about the recording software, in which in my case, the one that I know best is Cakewalk. We'll talk a little bit about Cakewalk. And like I said before, if you have different software, Ableton, and there's a bunch of other software, they work pretty much the same. And the board will join in with your recording software. It works well. You can see the board on your software and you can pick your tracks and record. So as an intro, I just want to remind you, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get the channel going. We've got music coming. I'm trying to put new songs every month, at least 1 or 2 new songs every month. And I'm going to try also to do the tutorials. And it's not easy for me because I've been having to learn, right now to do this tutorial, I had to learn how to capture my screen on the computer when I'm using my recording software and edit. And I use DaVinci Resolve, which is also free. My things are the Cakewalk by BandLab as of now is free. You can download it and use it, and it is an incredible piece of software. And DaVinci Resolve is free. It's what I use to edit my videos. And the other one that I use for recording the screen, it's OBS Studio. It's also free. Can't go wrong. All this stuff is free, and they're incredible pieces of software. So I hope that you can enjoy this and join in with me. And then the setting all the way to the right is audio interface, and that's how I use it, because you can connect. We're using the plug that you put into the device that goes into your computer. You can connect it, and you can actually record from the board. You can use it as an interface and record anything from the board directly into your computer. If you have a recording software, like if you're using a Mac and you have GarageBand, or if you were using a PC and you've got like the one that I have, which is Cakewalk, or you can use any kind of recording software, will read it. So it's very useful, and it's really one of the big things that this board has, is able to use it as an audio interface. Okay, and we'll go into that in more detail in another chapter. Okay, we're going to be talking about using the Zoom L12 as an audio interface. I just showed you a little clip as to how to connect it in the back. You connect it from that USB cord directly to the computer, and you make the switch with the board off. You make the switch towards audio interface. Then you're set. What happens now is the board will send a signal to the computer will recognize it, install the drivers, and you should be ready to go. This is going to be a quick overview of what an audio interface is. After this, we'll get into details, but I just want to show you what I'm talking about when I say audio interface. So I have a microphone connected in here, and if you can see, there's a signal going into the microphone. Okay, this is my mic that I use, and it's connected to the board. At this point, I can record this mic directly to the board like we did before, and how you know how to do it by putting in record and all the other stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to see how the board sends a signal to the computer, and the computer sends it to your recording software. So I'm going to run Cakewalk, which I have in here. And Cakewalk is a free recording software that's wonderful. So I recommend it. We're going to open up, and I'm going to get into the details of the program and everything else, but right now I'm just going to show you. So we'll pick a new project, and when you pick a new project, it gives you different templates, which is already set up for you. Okay, I'm going to use a 4-track just to have 4 tracks in there when it opens up. So a new project opens up, and this is the interface of Cakewalk. Cakewalk has you can split your screen, and here on the bottom you can have, similar to the recording board, you have the faders, you have record, everything is there. Also, it gives you a view of when you record your track, you actually see the audio graphics as it records, and you have here a detail of your channel. And again, I'm going to get into the specifics later. I'm just going to show you. So how does it work right now? I have the board plugged in. My computer has already recognized the board as an audio, and so I'm going to go and select. And if you see, when I open the ends to my channel, this is channel 1, I have a Zoom 12 audio driver, and I'll show you later on how to set this up. And it's already set up, so I can pick any channel on the board to be seen in the computer and to be recorded directly from the board to the computer. And we'll see that right now. And it's a little tricky. We'll show you about it later. The way it works, each channel has a left and a right input, and then also a stereo input. So you can, channel 1 would be the left, channel 2 on the board will be the right in the driver 1. And then if you want to record both of them at the same time, you choose stereo. Okay, in this case, I have it plugged into channel 8. So how do we work that? Well, we go to the 7, believe it or not, and on the right side of 7 would be 8, because it looks at it this way. It looks at it in pairs: 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And 8 is the right input in the Zoom board driver. So we select that. Okay, and now what's happening now is that this signal that you see here is going into that channel. How do I know? Well, in Cakewalk, when I arm it to record, you will see a level right here. And as you see, this level is the same signal that's coming from the board going straight into my computer. So that's what the audio interface does. Theoretically, you can record all the channels. You can put as many channels as you want here. Like I said before, I've recorded up to 30 channels. So it's probably way too much, but you can do it if you have the proper computer and the proper software. So I'm going to show you just real quick. If I now select record here, okay, we will record the channel, and whatever I'm speaking will be recorded into track 1. And if you see, if I make a big clap, you'll see right there the signal. It's all being recorded into the software in your computer directly from the board. Okay, and if you see this, what this is that the actual metronome is playing. So it's clicking on here, but I don't have it on and you can't hear it, hopefully. But anyway, so this is just a very brief overview as to what an audio interface is and how we can use the Zoom L12 as an audio interface going into your computer. All right, so we'll take a look at the steps, and I'll show you. We'll talk a little bit about what kind of computers you should have if you're working with PC or Mac. the kind of power you need to record audio directly into your computer and for it to work properly. And also you have, as I'm going to show you here, you can put in effects. And if I put my effect channels, I can go into the Cakewalk effects, for example, and you got all kinds of different compressors, gate, percussion strip, and some of them are very cool. Like if you look at the percussion strip, you see what it looks like. It's actually looks like a piece of hardware in your computer, and you have presets that you can select. So if you select this preset, like for example, the slapback, everything is set here already for you, and it will give you the kind of sounds you want. So this is very exciting, very much fun, and I hope that you will get into it. But this is just a brief overview of what a audio interface is. We just finished seeing a demonstration of what an audio interface is. For those of you that don't know what an audio interface is, now you at least got a little picture of the whole process. It goes from going right into the board, recording directly into your computer, which is running a recording software. And in this case was Cakewalk. So there's a lot of detail, and I can't go into all the detail in this presentation. So I'm going to do another short overview of what your computer needs are going to be. So we already covered the first step. You already got the L12, or you don't need the L12. You can get, there's a million audio interfaces that you can get, from 2 inputs to 24 inputs. You can get whatever you need. It depends on your budget and what your actual recording needs are. But we're talking about the L12 now, and we already saw how that works. Now we need a computer. I have an HP Windows 11 i7, 32 gigabyte RAM, and 2 internal hard drives. The first one, the C drive with the 1 terabyte, the second drive with 2 terabytes. That's probably your minimum configuration that you can get. I'll talk a little bit about it. All the computers, whether they're laptops or whether they're desktop PCs, and we're talking about PCs now, Windows PC. The 3 components that are most important for recording audio is number 1, the processor, number 2, RAM, and number 3, the storage or your hard drive. The processors, right now, today, by the time you see this video, who knows, but right now, the processors that are capable of recording audio, what I would recommend as the minimum one, it would be the i7. The i7 processor. That is right now the processor that I recommend as a minimum entry into recording audio, video, editing, and all that. It's up to your budget. If you can afford it, you can get an i9, which is a much more powerful processor. And maybe by the time you read this, they'll have an i12 or i15, whatever you can afford. The more processing power you have, the better it'll be for recording. But for right now, minimum, an i7 is what I recommend. And that's the chip that controls the whole system, manages everything. Now, we talk about 2 other steps, RAM and storage. There's a difference. Some people confuse storage with RAM. RAM is a memory chips that can temporarily store information when the computer turns on. And what happens is the processor loads up as much information as it can into RAM, which is a memory that's temporary, but it's very fast. And so the processor handles the software and manages what information is going to keep up in RAM. The more information the processor can keep up in RAM, the faster the computer seems to be. So I recommend that you have minimum 32 gigabytes of memory. You could probably get away with 16 gigabytes of RAM memory, but to work with a lot of tracks, a lot of plugins, large files, you're better off with a minimum of 32 gigabytes, and if you can afford 64 gigabytes, go for it. Now that's the memory that the processor uses to work in and out, and as the way the processor works, it swaps memory and information with your hard drives. Now, what is your hard drive? Your hard drives is your permanent storage. So you need to have minimum, your first hard drive, which is your C drive, a minimum, I recommend, of 1 terabyte. The faster the drive, the better. Then if you're going to be recording a lot of audio, I recommend you have a second hard drive, either inside the computer if you have a desktop, or you can get external drives. Also minimum about 2 terabytes. So you can store a lot of audio in these drives. The hard drives store permanently. So when you save, and you always remember to save, when you save your songs, save your tracks, it comes from the RAM, it goes straight into the hard drive, and it becomes permanent storage as long as you save it. When you turn off your computer, any information that was in the RAM, which is 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes, will disappear, but it will get passed on to your hard drive, which will store it permanently. So next time you turn on your computer, you run your software will be able to find all the audio, all the information you have in your hard drives. And like I said, I recommend a minimum of 1 terabyte for your main drive, as fast as you can get it. There's different types of drives. There's SSD, which is probably the fastest one right now that you can get. And then your second drive, at least 1 or 2 terabyte to store a lot of audio. Those are the 3 components that determine recording for audio. Now you can get whatever brand computer you like. I have an HP, you can get a Dell, you can get Lenovo. There's a lot of brands that are good, but as long as you have the minimum of the components that I'm telling you, the i7 minimum as a processor, 32 gigabytes of RAM minimum as RAM memory, and then 1 terabyte as storage hard drive with an external or second drive of minimum another terabyte. This will give you enough power to record a lot of audio and record easily, as you'll see on my computer when we get into the detail, how I can very quickly load up tracks, put plugins, equalizers, reverbs, delays, compressors, all kinds of plugins that will help you edit, modify your sound, can run as long as you have enough power in the computer to do that. So that's basically it. Now we've talked about the digital audio interface. You know more or less what to get as your computer. If you have a good budget, get the most computer you can and you'll be happy. And now, after this, which you won't be able to do in this particular segment that I'm doing, but for my next segment, we'll start talking about the recording software, the minimum requirements, how to install it, and how to start using it. And that will be with Cakewalk. So I think this will be it for this setup. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening to our music. There's more music coming and more tutorials. And I have a little surprise tutorial that I'm working on, which might be a little funny, but let's see what happens. So it'll be coming soon. So again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your great comments. I get a lot of good comments. I was never expecting it. Subscribe to Sugarcane Rush and explore our channel. All right. I hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope that I can inspire you to get to recording. Let's stay in touch. Thank you.